For this lesson, we're going to be talking about radial symmetry. Radial symmetry means that no matter what way I turn my paper, it's always going to look the same. To get started, we need to have a square piece of paper, not a rectangle. This is something we could do pretty easily. I'm going to fold my paper from the bottom, right corner, all the way to the top of the paper and line it up as best I can, and then crease it. All the extra paper on the left side there, we're going to cut that off. It's going to be a rectangle that gets cut off. I like to take a pencil and draw a line down to make it a lot easier to cut. So open that up, take my scissors out, and carefully cut down a straight line. I now have a square piece of paper with a diagonal fold. What I need to do now is fold it in the other direction. So I'm going to take one corner and bring it up to the top corner, try to line it up as carefully as I possibly can, crease it, and open it up. I now have an X in the middle of my paper. I now need to fold it in half upwards. Again, take your time with this. We want these to be nice and even. So do not rush it. Now fold it sideways. Make sure the edges of the paper line up and crease it. When I'm all done, I'm going to have a T in the middle. I now have 8 triangular sections. This example right here, you can see I drew lines and shapes in just one section. So that's how I'm going to get started. Let me put this to the side. This triangular section right there, I need to fill up with my design. I'm going to add 4 lines and 4 shapes in just this triangular section. I drew a wiggly line. I'll draw part of a zigzag line. And notice my lines go all the way to the edges of the triangular section. And please remember, you're coming up with your own designs. You're not copying mine. So think of the lines and shapes that you're going to use for your design. Now I'll add 4 shapes. I like to do these diamond shapes. I'm just trying to fill up my space in this little section. When I am all done, I'm going to be taking that design and transferring it to the next triangular section. And here's a really cool trick to how to do it. I'm going to fold my paper, make sure it's lining up with the next triangle. I'm going to use the end of a Sharpie marker and just rub the back of the paper. And I'm pressing down pretty hard. I'm going to go all over that triangle section. Really take my time when I rub the back of the paper, because what this is doing is pressing the pencil marks onto the next side. And I know we can see it very lightly, but it's there just enough so I can trace it over again. So you do want to make sure you are pressing down hard with your pencil so it does transfer. That looks really cool. It's like a mirrored image. I'm going to do it again. Line up the next triangle. Rub the back of the paper. I like to use a marker, but maybe you could find something else that works that you have. Just make sure you don't rip your paper. And I'm going to continue this process of transferring and tracing all the way around my paper. And you can see every time that I transfer the image, it's just flipping all of these lines and shapes. And the reason I want you to make sure your shapes and lines go right to the edge of the triangular section is so in the end, they're all going to match up and create new shapes. Now I'm going to speed it up a little bit to finish the last 4 sections. Here I'm going to try doing all 4 of them at the same time. Sometimes I might have to go over it again and press down a little bit harder when I'm trying to transfer my image. If you do this and you can still see your lines and shapes, that's awesome. Then you can trace them. But if you feel like you're not getting enough to transfer, you might want to retrace a little bit harder just so it transfers. And take your time when you are tracing your lines. I know it looks like I'm going very, very fast right now, but that's because I sped it up. I want you guys to really take your time so all of your shapes and lines line up. They all look very equal to one another. And in the end, you're gonna have a really cool looking design that you did not expect. Now that I've transferred everything, I just feel like the middle part is a little bit too empty. So I'm gonna add just one more line, like this triangular line. And I'm gonna go ahead and transfer it onto the next section. Trace it and transfer it again. So sometimes you can add more designs, more lines if you feel like you don't have enough. But please make sure you are doing the same transferring process so everything is exactly how it should be. Almost done. There we go. How cool does that look? Now to add some color. Let's get started with the color wheel. We know the 3 primary colors, and then the 3 secondary colors. We're going to be talking about something called analogous colors. They are 3 to 4 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I like to call them next door neighbors. You can see that orange, red, and purple are next to each other, and that's just a different shade of orange and purple. So that's a nice color combination that looks really cool. Analogous colors. Another set of analogous colors could be blue, green, and yellow. And of course I can add the different shades that I have of greens or blues. So when I go to color this, I want to choose a set of analogous colors that I really think look really well together. So take a look at whatever art material you are going to use and decide what colors you like together. I'm going to go with the purple, red, and orange color scheme, and I'm going to add some light purple and a light orange. And when you go to color, have fun with it. Take your time, but what I do is make sure I always protect the surface I'm working on. So I put a piece of paper underneath. I'm speeding it up here for you guys, but why don't you find one area and color the entire area in one color before moving on to the next one. If you want to use markers, crayons, or colored pencils, that's entirely up to you. But think about how you are placing your colors. You should have no more than 3 to 4 different colors. Notice I chose 3 different colors, but I just had light versions of both of them. So yes, I had 5 different markers, but I still just had orange, red, and purple. Please enjoy the rest of this video so you can see the end of this result. And I really can't wait to see how you guys do with this project. Have fun with it.